Hello everyone, this is Sammy Wunder checking in live, your dating and relationship coach for the smart, successful, high-achieving woman who is ready to attract the soulmate of her life and go from single to engaged now. And I am checking in today to answer a question by Wonder Diva Michelle on how do you deal with men who constantly text you? And why is it so triggering for us women? So today, I think this phenomena is like an epidemic. So many single women face it, and it bothers so many single women, and it annoys so many of you that I decided to come in and actually talk about it. So Michelle says that she spoke to this man, had a good phone conversation with him. It was short, and they agreed that they would like to meet next week. And then she cut the call, as all divas do. You keep it short. And then at night, he sent her a text at 2 a.m. And then the next morning, he sent her another text. And then he sent her some puppy dog photos. And he did all of this, even though he knew that she is at work. And she is, she's not going to be available that much because she had cut the phone call early the last night. So Michelle says that she has not responded to any of those messages, and she is feeling extremely uncomfortable right now and almost turned off. And she says, should I say something about it? And if I should say something about it, then how do I communicate this to this man that it is annoying me, all these pictures and texts and multiple, at the wrong hours, the messages he's sending. Okay, so that's the question, and the way I'm going to answer it is in two parts, okay? The first part is always the quick fix, the superficial, how do you deal with this situation, okay? And the second part is to go deeper and to see why does it trigger you so much? Why? Because I notice in Michelle's question, she writes, it makes me very uncomfortable. Now, every time we use the word very, it shows an emotional response. It shows that the energy is loaded, and that something's triggering us and bothering us to a point that it should not be triggering and bothering us simply because we don't know this guy. And there is some emotional thing going on within us when a man behaves this way. And this is what I would love to help you figure out today as part of this live stream. All right, so the quick fix. How do you deal with this situation? Now, there are two parts to this. Two parts to the first part, okay? How do you deal with this situation is that you let the man know in a very straightforward manner without mincing your words. Something like, hello, thank you for the puppy photos. I am not big on texting and I prefer phone calls and face-to-face interactions. So feel free to let me know when you have a plan. Total diva. There is nothing too forward about it. There is nothing masculine about it. It is a very clear-headed diva response to a situation like this. Okay, so that's the script. That's what every diva on this community can use. Everyone can use. And you just want to be really straightforward and really courteous and polite and letting him know your preference, that you're not about texting, you're about phone calls and face-to-face interactions, and when he has a plan, to let you know, right? Now, the second part of how you deal with this is that if he does not respect this boundary, okay? So if he continues to flout this boundary, even after you have expressed this preference very clearly, then you want to cut him loose, delete, and block. And here's why. The first part, where I ask you to state your preference, is simply to give men a benefit of doubt. Sometimes men, they're like little puppy dogs who are super excited. They are super excited to see a pretty woman, to meet a pretty woman, and they are not that self-aware. They are not doing Sammy Wunder coaching. They're just acting on their natural instincts. And so if he is not that self-aware and he's just plain excited, as a diva, you should put forward your preference and give him that first benefit of doubt. Give him another chance, simply because he may not even know that this is turning you off or this is not feeling good to you. However, if once you have expressed a preference and the man continues to text at odd hours and continues to like send you puppy dog photos and live stream from Facebook, it's time to cut him loose. And here's why. Because this man is showing you very clearly that he's not listening and he is not responsive to your needs. He is not responsive and respectful to your boundaries and preferences. And while this might seem like a really small thing at the start of dating, this is only going to escalate the more and more and more you entertain this man. You know, because the tone of relationships is set right at the start. How a man responds to your requests, responds to your preferences, responds to your boundaries right at the start speaks volumes about his capacity to deliver on being the man for you in the long run. So if a man is constantly flouting your boundaries, or if a man is constantly not able to adhere to what you desire from him in a respectful and preferential kind of way, then he is not going to be able to be that man for you in the long run as well. And so once you have expressed that preference and you have communicated this to him and he is not able to respond to it, your best bet is to cut this person loose, simply because this is such a fundamental thing about women being able to express what they need and men being able to deliver that. And this is not about controlling, right? We're at the very beginning phases of dating, and this speaks volumes. This kind of behavior where a man just doesn't listen and just doesn't care about what you want and what makes you feel good is actually speaking volumes about his emotional awareness, his emotional maturity, right? It's like, you know, in my work, when I get a text from a woman who's having a problem in her relationship, and then I get another text and I'm not her coach, and then I get another text and I'm like, okay, you know, like this is lack of emotional awareness. It's like, you're not in a relationship with me right now. I'm not your coach, and I am not going to read like 10 pages of what's going on in your love life. And this is the same thing that happens in dating, you know, right at the beginning, there is no relationship, and a man needs to have that kind of emotional maturity that I'm not in a relationship with this woman. I am not her boyfriend. I should not be texting her like a little baby boy 10 times a day, right? So the men, you know, very early in the dating phases, men are revealing themselves, and they are revealing to what level of emotional maturity they operate and to what level emotional awareness they have. Because a man with emotional awareness, you know, is not going to take so much space in your life and not expect to take so much space in your life. So once you have forgiven him for, you know, being not aware around your preferences and given him that first benefit of doubt, in the second instance, when any such behavior gets repeated, and this is not just about texting, right? This could be about many other things. This could be about any other boundary preference that you're stating. And if a man repeatedly flouts that, it's time to let him go, ladies. Simply because this man is revealing to you what he is capable of and what he's not capable of in the long run. All right? So those are the two parts of how you deal with a situation like this, how you deal with a man who is constantly texting you. Number one, you speak up and you say what you prefer and what you don't want. And the second thing is, if it continues, you block and go cold turkey, simply because this man is not going to be able to deliver the kind of listening, nurturing, supportive relationship that you desire from your masculine partner. Now, the second element to this question is, why does it trigger us so much? So as I said, in Michelle's question, she wrote very clearly, I am feeling really uncomfortable. I'm feeling very uncomfortable. And I want us to notice that every time we have a very intense emotional response to a situation, we are triggered. Yeah, it is not natural that when someone constantly texts you, or, you know, someone you hardly know, why on earth should this person get so much of our emotional energy, right? So we are triggered here, Michelle, and a lot of you would be triggered. And today I want to throw some light on why a situation like this can actually feel really triggering. Now, here's the thing. When you do the inner work, yeah, some of you, you've done Attract Your Soulmate, some of you are doing Leap into Love, some of you are on my masterminds. When you do the inner work, your self-awareness rises. And when your self-awareness rises, you know exactly what you want. You know exactly what you're looking for. You become really clear-headed. So Michelle, you are, because you're doing the work, you're taking the coaching, you're doing the programs, your vibration is rising. Your self-awareness is rising. The clarity you have in your head about what you want, and the clarity you have in your head about, you are really committed. You're not escaping doing the inner work. You're not escaping, investing the money and really working on yourself. So when you start becoming this kind of woman, your vibration automatically rises, and you get so clear on what you want, and you get so clear on what you will not settle for. So when men act in these ways, in these non-serious ways and puppy boy ways and, little boy ways, it actually triggers us simply because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good when we know we are so serious in the soulmate attraction process. We don't want to deal with people who are not serious about themselves. We don't want to deal with people who are half-hearted, half-committed. We don't want to deal with men who just want to have text buddies and then later sex buddies and don't really want to step up and go for marriage and go for the big relationship. Because deep inside our heart, we know that when a man is serious and really serious, he just steps up and plans the date. And then he takes you out. And then you hear from him mid of the week, and then he's planning another date. So the part of you that is vibrationally rising and becoming more aware is the part that is getting triggered by these low vibrational men, and by these men who somehow you can feel in their vibe that they're really like, puppy dog, like just really puppy dog photos and and no real plan and no real dates and just texting and texting. So the part of you that is triggered and the part of you that feels turned off is the high vibrational part of you that is no longer willing to settle for half-hearted committed men. You're no longer willing to settle for men who don't know what they want and who are not serious about the commitment process. Because you know deep inside your heart, as a woman who has committed to the process, that, serious commitment takes place and serious dating takes place not over texting and virtual relationships, but through meeting online. And a man who is serious about his life, who is serious about his work, who is serious about his job and his love life is not going to spend whole of his day texting one woman puppy dog photos. So all these things, they collect in your mind. You're able to notice this, you're able to observe this, and it turns you off. And this turning off is a good thing, Michelle. It's a good thing, right? When we are in a transition phase, we often doubt ourselves. We often say like, am I being too harsh? Am I shutting down? Am I being, too judgmental? All that self-doubt is part of the transition process from insecure to queen, from insecure to diva. Because a real diva woman who is vibrating high with emotional awareness and who is vibrating high with the inner work, she is so clear on what she wants, and she's so clear on what she wants to attract, that when something comes in her life that is not matching that high level of vibration, it actually turns her off. So what you want to do here, Michelle, is instead of doubting yourself, you actually want to embrace the fact that this is turning you off. You actually want to state your preferences, and if he is not able to respect them and if he's not able to deliver to them, then you want to let him go with ease. And this part of you that is triggered and this part of you that feels annoyed and pissed off is actually that higher vibrational part of you that is not willing to put up with nonsense, that is not willing to put up with half-heartedness, that is not willing to put up with non-serious behaviors. You see, I see this in my business. I really believe that the entrepreneurial journey is the journey of deep inner work. Yeah. And, I constantly invest in myself, and, I'm constantly committed to the process of doing my inner work. And, every time I have in the past, I find myself feeling a bit impatient, and I was talking to my mentor about it. I was, feeling impatient with any woman who told me that she was 100% committed, but she was not going to do the programs, or she was 100% committed, but she was not going to take the action. And I was like, okay, no matter how you fool yourself, you are not 100% committed. So don't tell me you're 100% committed, but you are not going to do this, and but you're not going to take action, and it's like, I asked my mentor, why is this pissing me off? And he said to me, well, it's pissing you off because as someone who does the work and who is seriously committed, what it takes to do the inner work. It takes investment, it takes commitment, it takes taking action, it takes all of that work. And it's a similar thing with you, Michelle, and for everybody who's up leveling with the inner work right now. When your vibration and awareness will rise, and you will constantly come across people who are not vibrating at that level, initially you're going to get triggered by them simply because you're like, no, why can't she see it? Or why can't he just step up, and if he really likes me, why can't he just ask me out for a date instead of sending me puppy dog photos? But over time, as your energy gets anchored in the higher vibration, okay? So right now you're in transition when you do the work, but as your energy gets anchored in the higher vibration, and all the learning you are doing in your head really settles and gets anchored into your energy, that is the time when these things will stop triggering you. So now I am at a level in my work when a woman says, I can't afford to invest in myself, I'm like, okay, come back when you can. Or when someone says, I am committed, but I am not ready to do a program, I'm like, fine. I'm not going to leave my vibration there and come down and try to convince and help and rescue, which is something I used to do earlier. But now I've just stopped doing that because I am only wanting to work with people who match this vibration, who are that committed, who are ready, who know it takes work, who know it's hard, who know it's it's very uncomfortable to, money spending and all of that is always uncomfortable. They understand this, but they are so ready for that grand love that none of that stuff is going to hold them back. So you, Michelle, have to just really now start anchoring yourself in this energy, where every time you meet men who are vibrationally low, they don't trigger you anymore. You just let them go. You see it, you observe it, you see what they're doing, you observe what they're doing, and then you let them go. It doesn't trigger you because you're so clear in your head on what you want, and you're so clear in your energy that you are not going to tolerate, all this wishy-washy pendulum stuff, because you're looking for your soulmate and you're serious about it, and you want a man in your life who actually matches that level of clarity in his head, matches that level of vibration that you now have thanks to your inner work. So that was my answer to men who are constantly texting you and why they trigger you. And remember, asking why we get triggered is such an important part of the inner work, which most of us don't look at. We look at fast solutions, we look at quick solutions, we look at what to say, but we don't go deeper and ask ourselves, what are we feeling here? Why are we feeling this way? So that part of the inner work is something I'm really hell-bent on, making my tribe do and making my divas do, because that is where the real healing lies. So Michelle, you're doing really well. You're in the transition phase you're on the way to becoming a total diva, and anyone who is vibrating below that level is going to trigger you right now, simply because you're not ready for, lowering your vibration and meeting low vibration people at their place. So you're just like, all you have to do is really exhale the doubt, inhale the confidence, and really believe that as you step more and more into your power and know what you want, you're going to attract the right people for it. Okay? That's why I say we attract who we are. When we're wishy-washy, half-committed, we're going to attract wishy-washy, half-committed. But when we really step up, we are going to attract people who really step up as well. But at the same time, the world around us will not change. So those half-hearted, half-committed, half-invested men will still show up. It's what Abraham Hicks calls contrast. Yeah, contrast will still show up, but contrast will not trigger you, simply because you're so vibrating cleanly in your energy and what you want, that you're going to be able to observe all of this, and you're going to be able to let it go without brushing you with negative energy. So I hope that was helpful, Michelle, and I hope that was helpful for everybody else who is watching this. Make sure you leave a comment and let me know if this helped, and I will be more than happy to come back and do some more live streams. I love you all, ladies, and I hope to see you rock in love, and hope this was helpful. If it was, please leave a comment. It really means so much to me to hear from you and to hear back from you and to know this is helping you. Lots of love. Take care, everyone. Bye.